Good morning. My name is Jill Thompson, and I'm your worship associate this morning. Welcome to those of you who are here with us in person at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke, Virginia. We extend a special welcome if you're joining us for the first time, and we also say welcome to those of you who are joining us on YouTube. For those on YouTube, if you would like to share during the Lifelines part of the service, please put your comments and requests in the chat feature in the next 15 minutes, and they will be added during that part of the service. Our minister is the Reverend Walter LaFleur, and today's service is Just Words. A reminder for all of us, please take the time to silence your cell phones. And if you choose, please join us in speaking the words of welcome and the covenant. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come seeking love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness, overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself, or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here. And our covenant, we commit to supporting each other with respect and direct communication as we work in community to explore spiritual growth and to be a force for good in the world.
So this morning, I'm playing music that is entirely by women composers, some of whom you may have heard of and some maybe not. This is a piece called Sonata Number 1. It's a generic title by Anna Bon de Venezia, who lived in the early 18th century. I'm assuming she was from Venice, but I don't know.
Good morning. Our opening words come from Pema Chodron. Start where you are. What you do for yourself, any gesture of kindness, any gesture of gentleness, any gesture of honesty and clear seeing toward yourself will affect how you experience your world. In fact, it will transform how you experience the world. What you do for yourself, you're doing for others, and what you do for others, you're doing for yourself. Our chalice lighting words come from Margaret J. Wheatley. She tells us, we humans self-organize around shared values and shared tools. We humans self-organize around shared values, clear agreements, norms, culture. This is a process of bounded freedom, which serves both individuals and the whole.
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of love.
Morning. Oh, there I am. I'm so sorry. I yelled at you. You guys don't get to sit down today. I know, we're doing something completely different. We're coming right over here. And first thing, I have a question. Everybody just turn and look at all these adults. The first thing I have for all these people is a question. Who carries a bag? Might be a purse, might be a backpack. You've already got your bag. All right. Who has stuff in that bag? Okay, we're going to test them. This is a bag for you guys. This is a bag full of stuff. Now, what we can do is the stuff in this bag can go to one of these teams because we're going to divide them up in teams. So now you guys can like sit down with your bag, get ready. We're going to divide everybody up in teams, and I'm going to ask for something, and I want you as a team to find that thing. So if you know you have it in your bag, look, this is your team. We're going to divide right here. This is team sharks. And this is team, what should this team be? The butterflies. Sorry, you're not the Jets, you're the butterflies. So, okay, butterflies versus sharks. I'm going to call out these items. And if you have it, you can hold it up high and win it for your team. So if you're one of those bag people, you might want to get that bag ready. And you guys have stuff in that bag. If you think a team might need help, one of you guys can run over with that thing. You feel free to just dump the whole bag out if you want to. That's fine too. We're going to start easy. I need a pen. A pen. Oh, looks like we got one from the butterflies first. So butterflies, you get a point. Nail file or nail polish? Nail file or nail polish? Oh, that was kind of a tie. So 1 point each for sharks and butterflies. Something that makes fire. This is not a joke, Jill. Something that makes fire. Oh, the sharks got a point. Now, you guys, if you think a team might be struggling, you can run it over to them. It's tied right now. Oh, you're keeping score? Good job. Thank you. I was not keeping score at all. Let's see. We've got, this is another easy one. Chapstick. Chapstick. Oh, wow. Okay, whoa. Everybody gets like 17 points. We all have dry lips. Let's see. Tea bags or instant coffee? Tea bag. Oh, okay. I need to see how big your bag is, Neenan. Oh, so Neenan has it in case she gets lost in a desert island bag. So let's test that bag and see if she has non-US currency. Non-US currency. Now, if you see a team that might need it, you can give it to the team, guys. Oh, we got some from the sharks. You're technically on that side. So Carrie's a shark. You're a ringer. So we have all of these items up here too. So if you need support, you can yell for a kid to bring you that support. Because now we're looking for a tape measure. A tape measure. Oh. They need support. They need support. Run it over to the butterflies. All right, so the butterflies get the point for that one because they called for support. All right, our last item is a toy. A toy. Oh, Bonnie's got a toy. All right, so the sharks get a point. Awesome. Okay, so I got a quick question. It's tied. How convenient that it tied. How very you of us to tie this game. Yes, absolutely. So how did it feel to offer support, guys? You have 4 you could have offered a lot of support. If you supported, you can go quietly grab that thing you supported with. I think all we have is Rainbow Fancy out. Whoa, you okay? You okay? We'll figure it out. All right, so quick question. How did it feel to support them? How did it feel good? Yes. Did you expect to offer support? Now, some of these folks helped me pack this bag this morning. Was this what you expected to happen with this bag? I told you some of it. Yeah, there were some things that I didn't ask for because we got a time, we got a clock. So we could have asked you guys for a lot more stuff. How did it feel to have that thing? Good, good. How did it feel when you asked for support? That felt good too. So sometimes we have the stuff in our bag that other people need, and sometimes they have the stuff that we're looking for. I promise we won't use your chapstick, but we are going to go upstairs and find other ways that we can support all of these people. So take a good look at these faces because these are people that we're going to support. Are you ready? Let's go do it and bring our bag.
Our reading today is from Faith Without Certainty by Paul Razor. Religious liberalism often involves the willingness to affirm faith without certainty. This is not the same as faith without conviction. It does mean that religious liberals tend to hold faith claims with a certain tentativeness. This is partly a result of the liberal mindset that is always testing and second-guessing itself. It also reflects the liberal commitment to open-ended inquiry and the realization that truth is not given once for all time. This same tendency can produce personal belief systems or theologies articulated in generalized ideas, perhaps sincerely felt, but often without a deep grounding or much specific content. If these practices are to become deep spiritual resources, they require discipline and regular practice. Liberals can fall too easily into the trap of thinking that the rational and spiritual are opposing poles rather than mutually reinforcing parts of our human condition. The traditional liberal emphasis on individual autonomy contributes not only to problems of individual identity, but also difficulty in sustaining group, identity, and denominational commitments. Yet this open-mindedness can also make us reluctant to commit ourselves too deeply to anything. Unfortunately, for many liberals, depth is wrongly equated with narrowness. A complete theology involves not only thinking and feeling, but acting. The way we live our lives names our theologies more effectively than any label we can give them. If we name a theology of love, but treat people with disrespect, if we name a theology of interdependence, but insist on our own independence, if we name a theology of inclusion, but think we need to make all the important decisions, we are out of sync. The deep-seated individualism in our culture and in religious liberalism reflects a misguided and dangerously outmoded understanding of the human self. We cannot adequately satisfy our longing for community until we learn to embrace a different view of the self. We don't need simply to shift the balance between the individual and the community. We need to come to a different notion of what it means to be an individual. Our liberal modern understanding of ourselves as autonomous individuals is an illusion. The truth is that we don't first exist as individuals who then form social groups. The group always comes first. As individuals, our identities are always formed in relation to a particular social context. We are social beings through and through.
Words are more than just words. They're tools we use. They're tools we use to communicate. Not the only tools, because there are also smiles, eye contact, physical touch. But words are a primary form of communication, and they can be used to either separate or used to connect. I, me, yours, mine, those words separate. They make clear distinctions between you and me, between self and other. Now, I'm not making any judgment about those individual words. I'm just noting that these words require us to make clear distinctions. We and us are words that do the exact opposite. They connect. They're words of inclusion. That's why phrases such as them, those people, or their kind can be so offensive to those who are clearly being set apart, marginalized by words. I'm talking about this morning because I want us as a faith community to err on the side of inclusion, to err on the side of connection, the side of supporting one another. I say err on the side of because we are all human, and by definition, not perfect. We do and will make mistakes. We can't help it. We're human. So the best we can do is to be intentional in leaning in a particular direction. Lean in the direction of inclusion. Because if we're not intentional, we may well discover that we're not leaning in the direction of exclusion, and that we are leaning in the direction of exclusion and separateness. And all too often, we make that discovery after the fact. I want us to focus this morning on how we have a tendency to separate, to keep us apart. I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said, "A house divided cannot long stand." Even if he was not literally correct, meaning the house would fall or fail, he was fundamentally correct in that the house is necessarily weaker, less safe, less stable, less whole, less inviting. Psychologists can talk to us about the impact on family systems when there is significant discord within the families. Now, I want to be clear. I don't want to be heard as saying or even suggesting that we as a faith community suffer from significant discord or significant division in our ranks, because I don't think we do. But as in any, and I guess all groupings of people, there are areas of disagreement, areas of negative judgment, misunderstandings, and room for questioning, often leading to dis-ease. I would include this community in that definition, this faith community in that assessment. Since we're human and we're not perfect, at least not yet, there will be discord among us. There will be discord whenever two or more people come together. Sometimes we find ourselves in discord even with ourselves. The issue then is not to seek to avoid disagreement or potential discord, but rather to learn how to manage it. Every couple has to deal with and learn to resolve differences. That is, if they're to remain together. The better they are at resolving differences, the better their relationship is likely to be. We, in this faith community, have differences. Surprise anybody? We have differences by design. We do not ask nor require that we all believe the same thing. In fact, we are explicit in our expectations that we will not all believe the same things. Yet, we'll still be supported by who we say we are as a faith community. Sometimes we do a better job than other times. Sometimes we do a less good job than other times. Our principles are explicit in that regard. The first 4 of our 7 principles speak directly to the perspective that I just noted. Our first principle says a belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The second one says justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Our third principle says acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. And the fourth principle says we affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Those are wonderful words. Those words are what initially attracted me to Unitarian Universalism. They reflect a wonderful orientation to life. They reflect the existence, the search for, the want of interconnectedness. Truth is, however, those principles are easier said than manifested, even by open-minded, reasonably good-hearted folks. For that reason, I want to wade into the gaps of our beliefs and our behavior this morning. I want us to get better and better and better at the doing part, the manifesting, and not the sanguine part about the words and our beliefs. What's clear to me is that we are here together, all of us, here together in this place, and we're here by choice. Now, somebody may have dragged their partner in, but for the most part, we're here by choice. Inclusion asks us to focus on the fact that we have all chosen to be here together, and not get hung up on a particular word or 2 or 3 that may be used to describe this place or used to divide. A colleague of mine has what I believe is a wonderful way of talking about these kinds of distinctions and these kinds of differences. He said, in talking about our Sunday morning experience, which gets viewed from various vantage points, he says something like, if you are comfortable, someone else here is uncomfortable. And if you're uncomfortable, then someone else is getting exactly what they expect and need this morning. I think quite often that wonderfully sums up life in Unitarian Universalist congregations. And if most of you are uncomfortable, everybody knows it's the minister's fault. Yeah. What he says boils down to it's unreasonable, maybe even selfish, to expect to always be comfortable in our Sunday morning worship services. And that brings me to another word we UU sometimes have difficulty with, especially those who define themselves as humanists, atheists, or agnostics. And that word is what? Spirit. Worship is the one I was pointing at, but there are others, aren't there? The word worship has traditionally been defined as the worship of God or gods. But that's not its only meaning. In a UU context, where we explicitly acknowledge that we do not all have the same belief system, it's unhelpful for us to use that word with a narrow meaning. And in my view, given that we are a faith community, the word worship seems wholly appropriate. We need to be careful about who we exclude. The word worship comes to us from Old English, meaning honor shown to an object. And yes, that object is typically God, but not exclusively so. For some, it's money. For others, it's beauty or fame. The etymology of the word means worthiness, worthship, to give worth to something. To worship is an intentional focus on that which we deem worthy. To worship is an intentional focus on that which we deem worthy. You've heard the phrase, I worship the ground he, she, or it walks on. I'd like to think that's what we do together on Sunday mornings, that which has worthiness. But I have a bias because I want us all to be happy. Evelyn Underhill, an early 20th century writer on religion and spiritual practice, defines worship as the absolute acknowledgement of all that lies beyond us, the glory that fills heaven and earth. Buddhist worship can take many forms, built on the doctrine of skillful means, such as mandala, yoga, even the fighting principle discipline of Shaolin, or the serene and beautiful tea ceremony. A sanctuary is where we hold Sunday services. Now, I know some people think of crucifixes, stained glass windows, and ornate altars when they hear the word sanctuary, and some in our UU community turn and walk away when they hear the word sanctuary. But that too, I think, is a limited interpretation of the term, especially in a UU context. Here it is. Here we are in a sanctuary. Sanctuary comes from the Latin word sanitarium, meaning a container in which to hold things, especially holy things, including people, you, me. The United Nations recognizes what's termed legal sanctuary, where a nation can provide political asylum or refuge from arrest by another country. Many of us enjoy hiking, birding in a nature preserve or wildlife sanctuary. And in this part of the world, you can do it almost all year round. In the north, you can't. A sanctuary is a safe place where people or animals can find refuge. I believe our congregations are places where people can find refuge from everyday life and the ills of the world. Our faith communities should be a sanctuary, should be a safe haven where we can rekindle our spirits and where we are called to focus on what is truly important in life, that which feeds and sustains life. Ministry is another word we sometimes burden with heavy baggage. Ministry is a profession, and the duties and services one in that profession provides. Also, a governmental function, as in minister or department or area of government, designed to provide service to care for. That's the most appropriate meaning of the word in our faith community, to provide service, care for. All too often, seems to me, members of our UU faith community fail to live into the full meaning of our 7 principles that we covenant to affirm and promote. As Paul Razor noted in our reading this morning, the traditional liberal emphasis on individual autonomy contributes not only to problems of individual identity, but also difficulty in sustaining group identity, denominational commitments. We minister to each other when we provide care, when we provide concern, encouragement, or simply listen to each other. We minister when we provide warm welcome. Ministry is to self and others. Ministry to self and others is what is embedded in the meaning of our first 4 principles, embedded in our covenant that tethers us. We talk about, we covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. All too often, dear folks, I experience UUs focusing almost exclusively on their own autonomy, their own needs and wants, searching and missing the foundational importance of community, specifically a liberal faith community of fellow travelers, a liberal faith community of fellow travelers. This morning I want to remind us of our commitment to the covenant we share. It's a covenant that's intentionally externally oriented, a covenant that we pledge to affirm and promote. It's not a covenant that centers self. It's a covenant we affirm and promote for the well-being, the benefit of all, not for oneself, not for oneself alone, not even primarily self, but for the interconnected web of which we are all a part. Now I want to bring our attention back to our reading this morning, to those words of Paul Razor. We heard him tell us, we cannot adequately satisfy our longing for community until we learn to embrace a different view of the self. We don't need simply to shift the balance between the individual and the community. We need to come to a different notion of what it means to be an individual. Our liberal, modern understanding of ourselves as autonomous individuals is an illusion. Our modern understanding of ourselves as autonomous individuals is an illusion. The truth is that we don't first exist as individuals who then form social groups. The group always comes first. As individuals, our identities are always formed in relation to a particular social context. The group always comes first. As individuals, our identities are always formed in relation to a particular social context. We are social beings through and through. It's where we ought to place our focus. It's the way we ought to reconcile ourselves with the lives we live. And our UU principles encourage us, particularly those first 4 principles, to do exactly that. Amen. And Ashe. I didn't catch it quickly enough. This is also we. The we that is intended to have an impact in our larger community. And we are grateful.
I'm Jane Harrison from the Caring Committee, and we have many duties, and one of them is sharing the joys and concerns of this congregation called Lifelines. We do it Sunday morning. If you have a joy or a concern you wish to share, you can call the church office. You can contact Sally Garber, who's the president of the Caring Committee, or you can write in the Lifelines book, which is on the altar Sunday morning. We presently have two concerns. Greta McVeigh's Aunt Martha passed away recently from brain cancer. Please hold Greta and her family in your hearts and thoughts. And I received another message through YouTube that Leah Whitney has a very old dear friend who had received a very difficult diagnosis of cancer. So also keep this individual in your thoughts and your prayers. If you have a personal joy or concern that you would like to share this morning in your heart, we're going to use the,
Did you read the one I wrote in
no, I didn't see it.
there? It was for Beth.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right there.
Oh, goodness. Thank you. Beth is very happy. Beth Carruthers in the front row is very happy to report that with her toe that has been bothering her is not broken, but it does need some TLC. Sounds like my body. Anyway, if you have a personal thought and prayer in your heart, please come and use the altar and use both sides. Who's going to? Do you want to share?
Join me for a moment of prayer and meditation. Dear one, you have so many names and no name at all. Be with us this day. Be with us this very moment. Present yourself however you will be accepted, however you will be acknowledged in the present tense of our individual journeys en route to opening that which is beyond ego and our mental constructions. May we see beyond our limited vision, accept that which is beyond our limited knowledge, and lay claim to the interconnectedness of which we are an integral part. May we accept that we have a role to play, a gift to give, an awareness yet to be discovered just around the bend of our thinking minds. Amen.
We have 4 announcements today. The first is from Jeannie Larson. UUCR Spring Fund Drive in support of our local public radio stations, Radio IQ and WFTV Music, is on. 100% of what you give will go to the stations and will be thanked with on-air sponsorship announcements that let listeners know our community welcomes them to join us. Just make out a check with Fund 1050 on the memo line, or use the public radio sponsorship donation line on the donation page of the UUCR website. It's easy and it makes the world a little better. Here is a quick reminder that you can support our church whenever you shop at Kroger by joining the Kroger Rewards program. All you have to do is set up an online account and designate UUCR as the organization you want to support. Then a percentage of your spending at no cost to you will be sent to UUCR. And in related news, we used to have a similar program through Amazon, but they have since canceled their Amazon Smile program. I don't know, I don't make the rules. And we have 2 announcements from our racial justice team. One is, if you look in the order of service, and there's a nice little blurb about Jordan Bell doing a program on March 15th at 6:30. The 6:30 part is incorrect. The actual time is 6 p.m. So please make note of that. He's wonderful and puts on really lovely programs. And the last announcement, the consulting team contracted by the city of Roanoke to propose a development plan for the Evans Spring area in Northwest Roanoke will be holding a community meeting at Williams Memorial Baptist Church, 2101 Carroll Avenue, next Thursday, March 9th at 6:30 p.m. Your presence would be appreciated. Evans Spring is the last undeveloped land area in the city of Roanoke with multiple historical and land use concerns. Williams Memorial is our partner church in the pledge to end racism. There are blue flyers on the table outside for more detailed information.
Which is not in your order of service, is called Willow Weep for Me by Anne Ronald. And this is in the real book, which is actually a fake book. And what that means is that it's just melodies of tunes with chords written above them. There's nothing to indicate what you play beyond here is the melody of the song and here's the chord. And this book is about, and there are 3 volumes, and each one is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick. It has songs front and back that are 1 page each. And this is the only one written by a woman that made it in to these. So this is Willow Weep for Me.
Go forth into the world around us, knowing that we are connected to the all. Go into your week in peace.